Before MMA became the global phenomenon it is today, one man paved the way with his revolutionary ideas, lightning-fast moves, and unshakable philosophy. That man was Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee isn't just a martial arts icon. He's the foundation of modern MMA. His influence shaped how fighters train, think, and perform today. But how did a movie star from the 60s and 70s become the first superstar of a sport that didn't even officially exist yet? Let's dive into his legacy. By the end of this video, you'll see why Bruce Lee wasn't just a star of his time. He was decades ahead of it. His impact goes beyond Hollywood and straight into the DNA of modern combat sports. Stay tuned, because we're about to uncover why Bruce Lee truly is MMA's first global superstar. In the mid-20th century, most martial artists focused on mastering a single discipline, often believing that staying true to one style was the only path to greatness. Bruce Lee challenged this mindset, arguing that martial arts should prioritize effectiveness in real-world situations over loyalty to tradition. He believed many martial arts of the time had become overly formalized, prioritizing strict rules and rituals rather than practical combat skills. This belief led Lee to study martial arts scientifically, identifying weaknesses in various systems and integrating techniques that would work in real fights. Lee's open-mindedness stemmed from his early exposure to multiple martial arts. He began training in Wing Chun as a teenager in Hong Kong, and also learned boxing and fencing techniques from his brother, Peter Lee. These early experiences gave Lee a unique perspective on combat, allowing him to see the advantages of combining the precision and strategy of one art with the agility and striking power of another. This perspective was revolutionary in a time when most martial artists adhered strictly to a single discipline. Bruce Lee's pursuit of adaptability and effectiveness culminated in the creation of his own martial art, Jeet Kune Do. Rather than being a rigid system, Jeet Kune Do emphasized fluidity, efficiency, and the freedom to use whatever worked best in a given situation. Lee famously described it as using no way as way, having no limitation as limitation. This philosophy encouraged fighters to think beyond the boundaries of traditional styles and approach combat as a dynamic and evolving practice. To test his theories, Lee participated in competitions where he used techniques from various martial arts, rather than adhering to one style. His success demonstrated the effectiveness of blending styles, a concept that would later become the foundation of MMA. Techniques from Jeet Kune Do, such as its emphasis on adaptability and its seamless integration of striking, grappling, and footwork, remain staples in MMA training today. Lee's insistence on practicality also reshaped how people viewed martial arts. He argued that traditional martial arts tournaments, with their restrictive rules and point systems, didn't reflect the realities of a street fight or self-defense scenario. Lee wanted martial arts to mimic real combat, where victory could mean survival. This principle is at the heart of MMA, which allows fighters to use a wide array of techniques to secure a win, closely resembling real-life encounters. Lee's perspective on fighting can be compared to modern examples like the Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor bout. While Mayweather's singular focus on boxing made him the superior boxer in a controlled match, McGregor's versatility as a mixed martial artist would give him the edge in a street fight. This balance of specialization and adaptability is exactly what Lee envisioned when he encouraged martial artists to train across multiple disciplines. At a time when most martial artists were devoted to perfecting a single style, Lee boldly argued that rigid adherence to any one discipline was limiting. He believed there was no ultimate fighting style, and that fighters should focus on techniques that worked best for them, regardless of their origin. This philosophy drove Lee to abandon Jeet Kune Do as a formal system, instead promoting the idea that martial arts should be dynamic and adaptable. His focus was not on style but on effectiveness, which set him apart from other martial artists of his era. Lee's frustration with traditional karate tournaments in the US highlighted his forward-thinking approach. He saw these contests as restrictive and unrealistic, describing them as glorified shadow sparring that didn't prepare fighters for real combat. His advocacy for full-contact sparring marked a significant departure from the norms of the time. Lee even developed protective gear for fighters, enabling safer, full-contact training and competitions. This innovation helped pave the way for the realistic combat scenarios now central to MMA. Lee's belief that martial arts competitions should reflect real-life fighting situations resonated with fighters who valued practical skills. He argued that the true victor in any fight should be the one who could win under minimal rules, an idea that would later underpin MMA's development. His push for realistic competition showed his commitment to bridging the gap between traditional martial arts and real-world combat effectiveness. Bruce Lee's belief in minimal restrictions in fighting contests foreshadowed the evolution of modern MMA. He valued the freedom to use techniques from various disciplines, including takedowns, submissions, and ground and pound, elements that were revolutionary at the time, but are now staples of MMA. Lee's use of these techniques in films like Enter the Dragon demonstrated his practical approach, blending cinematic artistry with authentic fighting principles. Decades later, MMA emerged as a sport that reflected many of Lee's philosophies. Early MMA tournaments, inspired by the Brazilian Vale Tudo combat style, operated with almost no rules. While modern MMA has introduced regulations for safety, it remains closer to real combat than traditional martial arts competitions, aligning with Lee's vision. Bruce Lee's legendary skills and philosophies were revolutionary for his time, but how would he fare in today's MMA scene? While Lee's technical abilities, mindset, and training innovations laid the foundation for modern mixed martial arts, adapting to the highly evolved and specialized sport of today would be his biggest challenge. However, based on his principles, there's every reason to believe that Lee would thrive, given the right preparation and training. Bruce Lee was a trailblazer in incorporating techniques from multiple martial arts, something that has become the cornerstone of MMA. His training regimen combined striking, grappling, and footwork drawn from Wing Chun, boxing, fencing, and other disciplines. He also embraced takedowns, submissions, and ground and pound long before they became standard in MMA. These skills, combined with his philosophy of using no way is way, suggest he would adapt well to the multidimensional demands of the octagon. One of Lee's most significant assets was his speed, both in movement and reaction time. This, coupled with his remarkable precision and ability to read opponents, would make him a formidable striker. His physical conditioning was another area where Lee excelled. He was known for his intense training routines, which emphasized strength, endurance, and flexibility, all crucial for success in modern MMA. Additionally, Lee's mental toughness and adaptability were unmatched. He believed in continuously evolving and would likely study today's MMA landscape to refine his techniques further. While Lee's foundational skills were groundbreaking, today's MMA has reached a level of specialization and refinement that didn't exist in his era. Modern fighters often have decades of experience in disciplines like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, or wrestling, which have been honed specifically for MMA competition. Lee's lack of experience with modern grappling systems, like BJJ, and the extensive clinch work seen in Muay Thai could put him at a disadvantage without focused training. Despite these challenges, Lee's core philosophy, adaptation, and constant improvement suggests he would rise to the occasion. Lee didn't view martial arts as static, but as a dynamic and evolving practice. He would likely immerse himself in modern MMA techniques, working with elite coaches to fill any gaps in his skill set. His natural talent, intelligence, and work ethic would make him a quick learner, and his focus on practicality in combat would ensure he embraced what worked. Bruce Lee would also likely thrive in MMA's global culture. His charisma, discipline, and innovative approach would make him a fan favorite. With the right preparation, there's little doubt he could compete at a high level in today's MMA, though whether he'd dominate would depend on his ability to master the specialized areas of the sport. Bruce Lee wasn't just a martial artist. He was a game changer who inspired the very foundation of modern MMA. His belief in blending techniques, constant evolution, and training for real combat still resonates with fighters and fans today. Whether or not he'd dominate in the octagon, one thing's for sure: his influence is everywhere in the sport we love. If you're amazed by how Bruce Lee shaped MMA, stay tuned. There are so many more stories, legends, and jaw-dropping moments to uncover. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. You won't want to miss what's coming next.